CMYK. Individually, cyan, magenta, yellow and black are just colors to the eye. Together, they're a window of infinite possibilities of shades, design, meaning and communication. It took hundreds of years for these four colors to find expression of their fullest potential, starting with the gift of pigments from Mother Nature, allowing humans to expand the possibilities of expressing themselves. The marriage of the pigment and a thick fluid is what leads us to its child, which is then groomed into what we recognize as the modern-day ink. The ink, needing a playground to radiate its glow to the world, finds a partner called paper. Pigments, ink and paper bring a significant sense of perception to the human eye. The laws of nature are indifferent to these three musketeers, imposing the sense of longing to expand, to grow, to multiply, to break barriers and to flourish. The thirst of expanding is quenched by the magnificent invention of the printing press. Brainchild of a German goldsmith named Johann Gutenberg, changed the face of communication in the year 1450. The healthy consequence of invention is innovation which resulted into a series of iterations in printing technology, leading us to modern-day printing. Guarded by offset printing on one end and digital printing on the other, the spectrum of printing has stormed its presence in every nook and corner of the world. Right from the start of analog offset printers with multiple plates to on-demand computer-generated digital printers, both garner equal attention till date. Digitization took the world to another level, but the root essence of traditional tangible print still holds strong. Holding a print in hand promises the feeling of satisfaction and intimacy. Today, you can't help but notice print in almost everything. Pigments, ink, paper and printing press together color our material world, which is a delight for the eye, a burst of creativity for the heart, and sense of appreciation and gratitude for the soul. In the quest of making a grand first impression to the world, print industry needed a symbiotic relationship which is beyond itself. Enter the world of packaging, an industry which evokes emotion out of print, a partner which adds a tangible dimension to the abstract designs, a force which combines shapes, sizes and textures to present beauty to the world, whether you're this or that, here or there, asleep or awake. Printing and packaging embraces you all. Be part of the beauty and share the light of joy and creativity. Print is forever because colors are forever. Welcome to the vibrant world of print.
In printing, you enter into a world which is totally creative, fascinating, and you need to be passionate about this whole part of creation to evolve and understand how this printing world operates. People who are looking out for career in printing, step into this world, explore it. It's an area which is about to grow. It's an area which is now moving from a family-owned business to a very corporate, right organized business where there is a huge amount of growth that this country is going to look forward into.
I've started from a complete know nothing about printing to now being completely crazy about, passionate about printing and the quality of printing and also the materials that are produced.
We're growing at say about 8 to 10% per annum as an industry. Traditionally we've had just people who had experience running these machines. There's not really had any background or education, but in advanced countries like Germany, etc., you have trade schools where people actually learn how to run those machines. That is going to be a huge requirement in the future in India. So you're going to need people who have been trained in theory and practically to run these advanced machines.
Print is going to be a part of everyday life. And you must be surprised that without print, this iPhone 10, okay, the screen is screen printed. The graphics is what you see is digitized, but the circuit which is transparent ink printed, which carries the information, is transparent glass screen printed. So without printing, even modern world will not survive.
See, day to day, having a team of people, it's a trained team of people. I cannot be a commercial guy. I cannot be everywhere. Out of my forte is creativity, I focus on that. So if I train people who really takes care of my commercial part, my production part, all commercial aspect has been taken care by very loyal people who are with me since ages. Be innovative, be person. You have to pursue your passion. That's what I would rather suggest, not advise, but suggest. Be creative and innovative. Innovation is the name of the game for the future to come. You have to be innovative. You have to come out different. Don't be a copier. Okay? Come out with your own original innovation. Let the people laugh initially. Yeah, don't worry about that. Keep doing it. Keep pursuing your passion.
Yeah. Good evening, friends. These two films were presented for you just to reassure that print is there. So long live print. I'm Uday Dhote, Director, Dot Institute of Graphic Communication. I welcome you to today's session on reimagining current business model. Started in 2018, Dot Institute offers diploma in print management to students who have chosen printing as their career. This was classroom-style vocational education, and now we would soon be launching its online version. Lockdown has made us shift our focus to virtual education in corporate training, and we conduct web classrooms for that. At times, we also take standalone webinars on current topics like RBI and Finance Ministry schemes, wages during lockdown, and today, reimagining current business model. Our idea is to share knowledge and try to give solutions. Today, we are having participants from the nook and corner of India, proving that this is a relevant topic. Most of us have started our businesses and realized that things are not as they used to be before the lockdown. Some creative thinking will have to be done to reposition ourselves, and we will have to be personally at the forefront of all the main activities, namely finance, HR, and business development. This is the theme around today's program, and we are not here to offer solutions to the problems because everyone's situation is different. We are just debating these aspects threadbare so that the participants are able to learn something from these discussions and try to adopt something which they find relevant. Though we have participants from various verticals, but printing happens to be the major one, and that is why our examples and discussions may primarily revolve around printing industry. But the situations in all verticals are somewhat similar and during this pandemic. To start with, I will be doing a small presentation to form the base for today's discussion. This will be followed by some healthy debate with our panelists over a round of FAQs, specially made from the discussions which we have had in the industry. After this, we will take up the questions in the Q&A box. Please do not put your questions in the chat box. Originally, we had planned for an hour's session, but looking at the crucial topic, the important discussions, and the number of participants, we have extended it by half an hour to do justice, if required. We may not get time for live questions and raise of hands. Now, let me just tell you who are our panelists. The first panelist for the day is Siva Subramaniam, who would be looking into business development. Hi, Siva.
Hi, welcome all of you. Thank you. Thank you, Uday.
Yeah. Second is Mr. Yogesh Kamath, who would be looking into finance aspects. Hi, Yogesh.
Hi. Hello, Uday. Hello,
Hi.
everyone.
Hi. The third panelist is Radha Ramesh, who would be looking into HR aspects. Hi, Radha. Good evening.
Hello, everyone, and good evening.
And the fourth one is whom you know already, Tushar Dhote, who would be looking into new businesses, aspect of new businesses.
Hi, friends. Hi, friends from the industry. Good evening to all.
Now, their detailed introduction will be given a little later. Let us start with the presentation. Allow me to share the screen. Is it okay? Yeah, can somebody vouch for it? Yeah?
Yeah, it's okay, Uday.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Siva. Yeah, well, we could have said redefining, or reinventing or redesigning, today. But we are saying, purposely I'm saying, calling it reimagining, because we will have to be more creative in our new normal. Everybody knows that. So let us call it reimagining. That's just the funda behind reimagining. In business, we never plan to fail. We never open a business, to plan that I'm going to fail. But many times we fail to plan. So that's a fact of life. And now, what do we normally do at the start of a financial year, if I may ask? Normally we retrospect what has happened during the financial year or make new financial plans. And what are we going to do in FY 2020-21 on restarting after lockdown? First and the most important one is we are going to try to survive for the first few months and then try to revive for the next few months. So that's the only business we have in this financial year. First is to survive, and once you're surviving, then try to revive. I call them the wheels of survival and revival. The owners who are reimagining these things are at the center, at the epicenter, and they are in control of, or they will have to be in control of all these functions, namely finance, human resource, marketing, or business development, as you call it. And he will have to be personally there now. If he was dependent on anybody previously, now the owner himself, they will have to be personally involved. Otherwise, this is going to be a tough time. And I think personal involvement is going to play a key role in this. Yeah. Let us now understand what a business model is. It's actually the definition of business model is very simple. It is a company's plan to make profit. That's all. I mean, if we need to understand, why go into all jargons? It's as simple as profit banane ka hai. Jo dhande mein profit hota hai. Profit banane ka formula is a business model. It identifies the products and services that the business will sell, the target market, the related revenue and expenses, and what the bottom line I'm going to get. That's it. So some of the good business models, these logos express it all: Apple, Gillette, Zara, Airbnb, Walmart, and name what. Now, what is there? Just let us try to understand in short, what is there with Zara. Zara, then fashion never gets out of style. So similar to FMCG, this fashion comes and goes easily, primarily targeted at the young and middle age. It simply gets out of stock. And so it never gets out of style. That is its mantra, that is its model. Gillette, it sells the razors cheap so that it capitalizes on the repeat businesses of selling blades. Apple, it's the best, it has to give the best user experience. So Apple involves itself in designing, manufacturing of its own OS, application software, hardware, and services. Walmart, a wide variety in general merchandise at low prices. So these are some of the, I just wanted to breeze you through what business model is generally. Yeah. Moving forward, now whether I can change the business model. Some examples which I've tried to give here, there are examples of companies which thrived by changing their business model instead of clinging on to what they had started with. So zaruri nahi ki jo hisab se chalu kiya tha business, usi pe main stick karke rahu. I can change it. I can change it. So here's the time when it is calling for a change, and a big change, and a change which we have to creatively reimagine and get into the board of it and change. Let's see a couple of such companies who have really reinvented themselves. Western Union, which once best known for telegrams, reinvented itself in money transfer business. We know all about this. Just two simple examples. We could have given 1,000 examples. But what I want you all to understand here is that we can change. We can change a business model. Now, Facebook, first formed for the college students with .edu, but now today it is the most popular social networking site. So in terms of unique views, it's most popular. So this is to prove that, yes, one can change the business model and still reinvent itself. So saying that, what are the basic elements of a good business model? The basic 3-4 elements which are required in a good business model, because unless we understand this, how can you change that? Yeah. So we need to know, सबके businesses में ये होता है, सिर्फ मैं एक बार दोहरा रहा हूँ. अभी क्या है इस पे, we have to pay more focus on these elements, and you have to consciously see that these elements are there. If not, we have to define it properly. it's the bottom line is a profitable business is an indicator of a viable business model. Profit ke bagair kuch nahi hota. Business is profit and profit is business. Yeah. So first, customer value proposition, helping the customers to get an important job done, a competitive advantage or core strengths. This has to be defined properly. What is the customer value proposition? The profit formula has to be defined properly. Now in this term, now in these times, you know, the profit formula may need a recalculation, may need some tweaking here and there. So the revenue model based on your costs. देखो मैं हर एक बार मैं दोहरा रहा हूँ. Even in my web classes, I've been saying where I've taught cost centers. Knowing your costs, understanding your costs is very important, because what you have in your control is your costs. जो प्राइस पे बेचते हम लोग वो मार्केट डोमिनेटेड ही रहने वाला है, उस पे हम लोग कुछ नहीं कर सकते. So what we have in hand is control the controllables, and that is the costs. We need to know where we break even and the contribution, that is the PV ratio, क्या contribution आ रहा है, and effective resource utilization. So this goes into building a proper profit formula. Then we need to know our key resources, which people, which technology and facilities which we require to create the value for customer. Now in the changed circumstances, we have to think about this in the change. So business model remains a business model, but अभी ये change circumstances में क्या होगा वो अपने को सोचना है. So which people, who are the key people that I'm going to require going forward, at least in this year forward. Then the technology and facilities which I'm going to, which facilities, or we could, you know, simply put it this way, which facilities I'm not going to require, or which technology I'm not going to. For example, you know, if I'm having a packaging unit and a commercial run side by side, and primarily now packaging unit is doing good, okay, business is there, but in commercial it's absolutely no business, then I can think about not having the packaging. That's what I mean. Or simple some value added services which one is having in a commercial setup also, which I'm not going to need, one should think about doing away with. Yeah, we will go into detail about this because we have a lot of questions on these. But basic यहाँ पर समझना है कि good business model के क्या characteristics, key processes. Now products and services should be able to be replicated. जो अपना workflow है, that should be able to be replicated, easily replicated. So regular क्या होगा? Regular training होना चाहिए. Benchmarking and standardization is important. So whether you're doing good business, bad business, or whether we are having less demand now and tomorrow it will pick up, whatever you do, you have to do it with proper benchmarking and standardization, because that is the key. Yeah. So having understood now what a good business, what simple four things which a good business model should have. Let us go ahead and see what is changing now. Let us understand what is changing. So business is going to be different, that everybody knows now, at least for some time, till we find a proper vaccine for the COVID-19. Business is going to be different, that you will all agree with me. Therefore, you will have to be different. Obviously, therefore, we have to be different. And in other words, coming back to the theme of the webinar, is reimagine our ways of doing business. And this would depend primarily on these factors. Characteristics of our industry. There is a changing technology on one hand, less demand on other. Changing technology not only in print, other industries, because print is a supplier to so many different verticals, so many different businesses. Any change in technology in any other business is also going to affect primarily print requirements. Rising costs, that is key. Or sometimes somewhere even costs are going down. Say probably the employment costs, the staff costs may go down, but for some time at least. Or some costs are going to go up because there's a disruption in the demand and supply. So wherever the supply is less, there might be some rising costs which will be seeing. Excess capacities. Everybody knows this problem was not only a new problem, this problem existed before. Excess capacity का problem पहले से है. ज़्यादा हो गया है machine और demand कम है. Increasing digitization. We all know about these. So these are some of the characteristics of our industry which we should understand. All my questions of FAQs are all based around these. So when I'm talking about these, in respect to what I'm going to ask our panelists also, yeah, keeping these factors in mind. Then there are some special fallouts of COVID-19. कोविड-19 की वजह से कुछ जो प्रॉब्लम्स है, कुछ जो अलग कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स होने वाला है, वो ऐसा है, disruption in demand and supply. We all know demand is disrupted to so much extent. Somewhere it is 50, somewhere 70% drop in demand, more than that also. Then there would be changed habits of consumer, at least for the time being. जो print लग रहा था वो आज शायद नहीं भी लगेगा किधर. So we really don't know what the change habits of the consumers are going to be and how they are going to affect. But they are going to affect, that is for sure. Health and hygiene are going to be very important. We have not known the importance of this earlier. Now, yes, with this we are going to know. So that also is going to have some cost effect somewhere or some other effects somewhere, direct or indirect effects that we will see in our questions also. Internal medical emergency हो सकता है, either family member है या एक team key player का कोई problem हो गया, internal medical related to COVID, I'm saying, yeah. So that is also going to have an effect. Then other economic and external factors, corporate debt crisis could be a fallout of COVID, of this pandemic. Increase in unemployment, we cannot deny the fact that there is going to be increase in unemployment. Now, whether it is going to work in our favor or it is not going to work in our favor, we will understand when we are throwing our questions open to our panelists. High costs of finance, we know that what is LIBOR at? LIBOR is at what rate? And what is the lending rate today, average lending rate? That's a big problem. We know that the cost of power is a huge problem. Probably international markets we are not able to capture because of these two elements. That may be a fact. And infrastructure is still not ready. Are we really ready in that sense of the term? Yeah, I really don't know. It's a question. And everywhere, whatever these reasons may be, whatever our factors on which we are going to depend, the stress points at the bottom are going to be liquidity, that is finance, customers, that is the business markets, people, that is HR, and new businesses. So this is our basic theme of today. Now, having known this, at the backdrop of this only, I would like to start my round of questions. Yeah. Hope I was not very fast, but I had to do this somehow a little early because the questions are going to be more interesting. So on the backdrop of this, I need to start my round of questions. Yeah. So I will first introduce you to Mr. Yogesh Kamath, who is the director of Fundvisor. He's a chartered accountant and a cost accountant, having more than 23 years of experience in corporate finance. He has worked in senior management level for companies such as Glenmark and GTL. He is a highly competent business analyst and a proficient with complex financial models. He has a wide experience in debt restructuring and specializes in forex management. Hi, Yogesh.
Hi, Uday.
Can I throw the first googly to you?
Yeah, before that, I want to thank Dhote to give an opportunity to Fundvisor to be on this esteemed panel with these esteemed participants to whom we can share our knowledge. And yeah, hello to everyone also.
We thank you to spare your time. Yeah, Yogesh, the first one to you. 3.5 months down the line, with a crunch in liquidity on one hand and reduced demand on the other hand, how are we supposed to balance our finances? The question doesn't stop here, Yogesh. Moreover, fixed costs are eating into our bottom line. How do we move forward? Or what sort of financial model I am to make for 2021? Yeah.
Yeah. Uday, if you see, this COVID-19 is one of the factors which no one had estimated this. Maybe only in January people got to know about it, and February people started being serious, but no one thought that it will carry on for, say, till July, and God knows how much it is going to carry on. But all said and done, when the lockdown was announced, most of the SMEs, MSMEs, and even mid corporates, they started doing the cost cutting on their own basis. See, for the current year of 2021, I will say that whatever business people are doing, I don't think so there will be much growth in that because of lack of demand. So for survival aspects for the companies and for the promoters, it is better to go for a cost cutting. These measures, if you see, even in April and May, when the businesses were very low, the companies have already started doing, because no one wants to bleed, and cash conservation will be the mantra along with cost cutting for this current year. That is the overall thing, because of which, if you see, you have to bring down the cost of your employees' costs. You have to bring down the cost of transportation. There are some costs which have come down directly. Like if you are not using power much, the power cost has come down. You can't use the transport cost has come down. But there are certain costs which the company per se has to bring it down, which is the employee labor cost, which is in their hands. And right now the situation is such that in a majority of the workforce is working from home. And even the employees per se understand what is happening.
Yeah.
What is happening. So to survive this, survive this period of trauma and uncertainty, cost cutting and cost reduction is one of the best measures. Whereby, if you have cash is the king right now in the current scenario. So whatever happening, being cash in hand will help a company to sail through these things, and will make themselves much more mature when they come out of this crisis.
Sorry to interrupt, Yogesh. So is it? I would be right. Would I be right in saying that 2021 is a wipeout?
See,
yeah,
at least till September, our analysis tells that there would be nothing much. Yes, some areas have opened up, and
So
the lockdown has come down, but the demand has not increased. At the end of the day, only if the demand is there, then only it matters.
So on an average, say about 50% average पकड़ेंगे तो 50% ही होगा ऐसा अनुमान है. Yeah. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Best case would be 70. Worst case would be 50. But I will exclude pharma and FMCGs from this.
This is barring exceptions, Yogesh.
Yeah.
On a general 50% drop, होगा ही होगा. ऐसा. So you mean to say that we have to be alert on our fixed cost primarily, because variable
is right. That is right.
So alert on our fixed cost, and week on week, थोड़ा short term planning better रहेगा.
Yeah. We have to go with very short term plans. Daily basis पे हम लोग को plan करना पड़ेगा, because every day is a new turns आ रहे हैं. Because of which, if you see, instead of seeing what is there 1 year down the line, it is futile right now to think about 1 year down the line. So the short term is really short term now. It is nothing more than 15 days, 1 month. And accordingly, you have to work when the things improve from 1 to 2 months, 2 to 3 months, and accordingly.
तो इसका मतलब है कि अभी pessimist होना चाहिए.
I will not say pessimist, but I will say more risk averse. Because
more practical, you mean?
More practical and risk averse. See, everyone knows that this crisis will go off but no one knows the timing. So time is a very variable factor here. Time is a very variable factor. Unless we find a medicine for this, a permanent vaccine for this would continue. And either we adjust to live with it, or
simply put, Yogesh, you have a choice between bad and worst.
That's right. Right now it's there, and we can't deny it. We can't deny it.
Anyway, so bad is good for us.
See, it depends on how
no, to put it lightly,
Yeah.
क्या मालूम है, बहुत heavy हुआ ना session, तो पहले ही लोग बहुत बोझ फाइनेंस का क्वेश्चन ऐसा लगता है और बोझ डालने वाला है अभी. So bad is good for us. Okay.
See, my view is more to do with prudence. We have to be prudent right now in the current situation, rather than हम लोग बहुत बड़ा बाद में का बात सोचेंगे. अभी तो survival का ही सोचना पड़ेगा.
But one thing which I have been telling people, in my webinar, so correct me if I'm wrong, that whatever happens, these fixed costs should not eat into your profits. So
that is right. See, this is a learning for all the SME, MSME. आज के दिन जो fixed cost control करते and those survive होंगे, after this crisis, they will always have one eye on the fixed costs, because they know that they have learned a hard lesson.
Right.
I'll say that fixed cost अगर control में नहीं है तो क्या हो सकता है?
ठीक है. Thank you, Yogesh.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then I'll come back again to you 4-5 times.
Yeah. Sure.
Till now, I'm keeping it.
Yeah.
So our next panelist, Siva Subramanian, co-director of Fundwiser, an MBA with more than 27 years of rich experience in fundraising, debt and equity both. He has dealt with companies like India Cements, Adani Group, Godrej, Kirloskar, Tata's, RPG Group, etc., and managed funds of over rupees 200 crores for various HNIs. He specializes in long-term finance and trade finance. Their company Fundwiser is providing consultancy to various corporates for business development, financial planning, strategy, and re-engineering. Welcome, Siva.
Thank you, Uday.
Now, a simple ball to you this time.
Yeah.
As it is, the demand is taking time to reach the pre-lockdown levels. Except barring again, as Yogesh said, barring industries connected to essentials like food or pharma, etc. And to add fuel to fire, in case of commercial printing, businessmen are facing the digital challenge. आपका क्या advice रहेगा, sir?
See, what I look at it is, we have been discussing day in, day out the same thing. It is all about the planning, what we do. We always do the planning for the whole year, normal scenario. But in this scenario, we should do a planning for a month, and we should visit weekly that planning, and daily we should see what can be done. So it is becoming more, you have to be more meticulous in doing this work. Okay, with that, you should control inventory. Basically, there are a lot of places the inventories are piled up unnecessarily. So if you have this planning properly done and revisit on a daily basis, so all those things can be, taken care. Effectively, you can control the cost. Okay, then what else you can do is you can talk to the existing customers to figure out how are they placed, what is their business, what is the scope for business for you. So on that basis, you can at least plan, and you can source raw materials, because today's scenario, the raw materials are also expensive to be sourced. Okay, everywhere people are taking advantage of COVID and pandemic. So we have to be more meticulous in terms of thinking and planning. That's what I need to say on this.
लेकिन print demand कम क्यों है? How do you say that? Is it because other industries, because printing has been servicing many industries, और सभी तो lockdown में थे. अभी सब लोग थोड़ा चालू हो रहा है, तो वैसे demand pickup होगा. Do you mean to say that?
Demand pickup hoga, Uday, but what I feel, see, I'm not scaring anyone in this, all the participants. Okay. And cheers to all participants for, coming in big numbers to attend our program. So what I need to say here is, basically it will pick up, but first is they will try to, survive themselves. पहले खुद को survive करने देखेंगे, फिर they will start slowly. So printing क्या है, वो धीरे-धीरे they will try to get into it when as and when required. Otherwise अभी वो बोलेंगे चलो भैया digital काम हो रहा है उसी में करते हैं. This is my personal view on that.
No, but to try to keep up the demand and to slowly build, even talking to your customers could be a good suggestion,
A good suggestion. That's what I said. Yeah. You need to talk to your customers, figure what is there. Again, the same mantra I am telling, they will also be doing a planning. No? From that, we will come to know where we stand.
Short term देख के फिर आहिस्ता उसको mid term जाने का. So that is why.
Short term देख के उसको धीरे-धीरे we have to go to.
And you are trying to say that forced demand create नहीं करने का? Is it what you?
नहीं, forced demand create नहीं करने का. It is very risky proposition in today's scenario, and we have seen all those things what's happened in the past in good times. So in this scenario, it is better.
So build with your existing customers.
Yeah, build with your existing
communication channels open and.
Yes, and see how you can reduce the cost. The one mantra of this webinar will be only cost.
क्योंकि overnight तो कुछ एक साथ demand change होने वाला ऐसा कुछ होने वाला.
Change नहीं होने वाला है. It is going to take time, and we have to be practical. Like when the lockdown was announced, there were a lot of promoters who were thinking, अरे 14 दिन में सब भाग जाएगा. अरे 14 दिन के बाद we will reopen. But we have seen what is happening. So we have to be prepared for at least this 2021, the whole year, I feel. Next 9 months.
Thank you, Siva. Thank you. Well, we'll move on to another panelist of today. I'll just introduce Radha Ramesh. She's the General Manager of HR in Dote Offset. She has 20 plus years experience of developing and managing best practices in entire gamut of HR processes, has worked for Aptech, Reliance Infocom, Core Education and Technologies, to name a few, apart from consultation to eStone, Infotech and Beyond Dreams Entertainment. Radha, are you ready for this one?
Yes, absolutely.
Because I know, Radha, many of these things are going to come to you only because
Yeah,
all is a teamwork, and more so in our industry, you know.
definitely.
Yeah.
We are
So,
one.
rather, there is a lot of talk on cost cutting, cost reduction. दोनों जन पहले panelist बोले हैं. And one of the prime elements of the fixed cost is naturally salaries. There is still confusion on resolving the lockdown wages despite the interim order of the Supreme Court, as you know. People have not yet, started the negotiations with their employees and so on and so forth. And 100% staff has not been working in the unlock stage yet. So, Radha, my question is, under this scenario, my question is it time to reduce the headcount, or should it be a general cut for all? Moreover, while reimagining our business model, there will have to be outlook and attitudinal change from top to bottom, isn't it? How do you do that? How do you manage these two things? One is cost on one hand, one is attitudinal change. कैसे manage करेंगे?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending this webinar. As we all know, the past 3 months, or should I say even the first quarter of the new financial year, has seen us all being bogged down by the unprecedented pandemic of COVID-19. There is not a single industry which has not been affected by the pandemic. More so ever the print industry, because we were already facing a challenge from digitization. And now coupled with the pandemic, survival has become a key issue. Continuing production with reduced and negligible demand and with reduced staff, it has become a challenge for everyone. With Unlock 1, the government has allowed at least 10% to 33% of workers to come to work. But those are very few, will they be able to cater to our work? And many of them are there in the containment zones. There is no public transport. The local trains, which is the lifeline of Mumbai, it is not running. So these are a few challenges which has made production a difficulty. Because in our industry, we are labor intensive. We depend upon our workers for the production. In case there's no production, we don't have any business. So there is a challenge in that. But if we look at the silver lining, this has also given us an opportunity to relook at our entire business model, especially restructuring as our topic, and I would say as our topic says, reimagining our entire scenario, business model. As Shiva and Yogesh had mentioned, cost cutting, cost control, cost rationalization, these are going to be our major focus now. What it has made us do is it has made us realize that time and tested models will not always work, and there needs to be overhauls in the system. And one of the key elements of cost is, of course, the wages and the salaries. Yes, even with the Supreme Court interim order, there is no clarity as yet because the discussions are not happening. Since it is not really very clear what is going to happen, it's just an interim order. So we don't know about the wages for April and May. But to focus on the coming months, we need to open up dialogues with our workers.
Yeah,
okay?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, we need to, and we, right to the owners, the stakeholders, all the stakeholders, whether it is the owners, the workers, the staff, employees, we all need to think realistically and holistically and take stock of our resources to arrive at solutions. And this is the right time to reimagine our business model. Analyze each and every element of our cost, particularly the wages and the salary bills. And definitely for this, we need to have a change, attitudinal change right from the top to the bottom. A healthy discussion with all resources will be a key to arriving at realistic solutions and changing our perspectives. Now, I won't say that there is one foolproof solution for every organization. Every organization has their own particular challenges, my organization, the dynamics are different from perhaps any other organization, XYZ organization. So
Yeah.
every organization has their own unique model. But
Yes.
there are some solutions which we can think about, like benchmarking, benching people, considering layoffs at a level, then maybe reducing pay, renegotiate the pay and the salary structure, the terms of employment, perhaps differ increments and bonus for the current year, considering that there is not going to be any business in the next 3 months, at least, because that is crucial for the survival.
Yogesh and Siva talked about short-term planning. For HR, I think short-term would be this financial year now,
yes,
isn't
definitely.
it? Yeah.
Definitely. Yes, it will be till the period of March. Yes.
And when you say your communication dialogue with the employees should be on, so that they don't feel jittery, and you want to say like that? I mean,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So they know what is the thought in management's mind, and they have more clarity about these things. Yeah.
And there is one more new concept of a gig economy which has come up right now.
Okay.
We can look at that option also. There are various options, but as I said, each one of the organization has to brainstorm and arrive at a solution which is good for them. Okay. But one thing which I would like to say is to retain key employees who share your vision and vision, because these are the people who are going to be there with you and who are going to share your vision and take you along in your journey.
So management needs to sit and brainstorm who are the key at this point of time, because your key people may have changed also with the changed scenario. This is also a possibility, isn't it, Radha?
Yes.
So we have to sit again and brainstorm who could be the key employees and how to protect them, and
definitely
to have a dialogue with them. More so, Radha, here what I feel is, after you have said all this, that SMEs who hitherto did not give much importance to HR probably would like to give, or should rather give more importance to these things in HR, rather than just considering the cost reduction aspect. They have to think that now that retaining teams, and enhancing values in each of them, seeing that, looking at their competency and these things, they will have to show a little more interest and more human factor. And this will have to be balanced. The cost and human factor will have to be balanced, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. What I would like to add just is that, whatever we do, just think practically and realistically. We as owners, as the HR and all, we tend to think, get into an emotional mode, particularly if someone is there with us for a very long time.
Yeah.
But yes, this is the time to identify the right people and move ahead.
So you mean to say that if at all I have to reduce the headcount, I should not have any qualms about it, right?
Yes.
If I'm thinking practically from a point of view of future business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So these decisions are crucial and we'll have to take them, guys. Yeah. So thank you, Radha. I'll come back to you in the next round.
Thank you.
Thank you for now.
Thank you.
Well, we'll move on to the next panelist of the day, Tushar Dhote, Managing Director of Dhote Offset. He has been at the forefront of technology adaptations in printing industry, a mentor to many startups and new projects in our industry. Tushar doesn't need any more introduction. Hi, Tushar.
Hi, Uday.
The question for you. बहुत कुछ combine किया एक question में, because time कम है. So see how you're going to answer. Let me also see. Excess capacity was a problem, as I said in my slide presentation earlier also. Excess capacity was a problem pre-lockdown. But now with the reduction in the orders, the gap between the demand and supply has reached a saturation level. Do you think there is any possible solution to this issue, Tushar?
Good evening, everyone. First of all, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, whatever opinions that I share on this forum today are going to be my personal ones. Maybe there will be, difference in opinions, what others think. So here I am going to relate my personal opinions. That is the first thing I want to tell the audience. Uday, as you said, pre-lockdown, also there was a lot of competitive edge for the conventional offset printing vertical. Okay. Now, this vertical, there has been a lot of capex done in the last few years. And what the other parts of the world have seen a growth in digital printing solutions, print on demand, the European market or the American market. In Asia, China, maybe to some extent Japan, but in India, we this conventional form of printing very near to our hearts. I mean, we don't want to change our style of thinking. So there's a lot of difference in this. And what has happened is in the last few years, the capex has been mostly done in the conventional form of printing. Maybe the automized equipment has been coming in lately, but where the investment has to be done, it is not being done properly. So there is a lot of difference in the strategies of business from different types of printers, you know. We have verticals, like we have major 4 verticals of print. One is packaging, label, commercial printing, and digital printing. It's very, very, you know,
broadly,
broadly we can define them as internally there may be gravia printing, flexo, labels. I'm not coming to that, but in the print processes, basically these processes, and due to the capex being done pre-COVID, you know, so already it was very competitive. Our company itself has seen 1.5 years of recession in books, magazines, commercial printing. Some of the printing grew, the stationery printing was on the rise at 50%, but we were losing somewhere else. So there has to be a balance. And what has happened in the COVID situation in the last 3 months, 3.5 months, first 2 months, you know, went on debating what is going to happen. So nobody was really ready in accepting that we will be under closed down for more than a month. So people were not prepared. People were, you know, had the reserves with them to carry on things. But after a certain time, you know, even it started eating into the capital of many. So in the COVID situation, the demand has drastically come down on the commercial print. Definitely magazines, newspapers, and all the commercial printing that you see were on the decrease. Not they were entirely, those books are still being printed, newspapers are still started, but you know, the demand has practically come down almost 70%. So it always depends on the type of infrastructure that you have. You know, survival is going to become difficult unless you don't change. So my advice or my opinion here would be, there are a lot of equipment. We have really always tried to bring all the department into one, chain, so that the services are absolutely fast and all. But now probably there are a lot of equipment that we may not need. There are a lot of equipment we may not need at this situation. So if you come down practically on the board and, you know, take a situation scale of what and how you should proceed, I would think that we have to determine which equipment is needed for us for a focused type of printing, and you can give away or, you know, take away the other equipment, and you know, reduce the manpower and as well as the space. Space is very expensive in Mumbai. So you know, so that we have to take care of it. And first we have to focus and, you know, definitely think what the requirement of print now that, you know, the total scenario of businesses have going to be re-evolved. So we have to go into minds of the other businesses who used to provide us business and see what is possible from their side, and try to, you know, deviate or maybe focus on those particular things which are possible for us. Secondly, in this nature, I would like to touch upon collaboration. Okay.
I was just going to ask you on that.
Yeah, collaboration is one thing which today we all have to, you know, think very transparently and try. If I'm going to shut out some services from and just stick to my core efficiency, I may, you know, outsource that to somebody else who is probably than me. But because I wanted one-stop solution, you know, I had these services with me. So that there are 2 types of collaborations are possible. It's internal collaboration between your friend circle, your printers, you know, and try to do away jobs in the circle so that, you know, everybody is benefited. That is one. Secondly, as I say that, you know, doing capex for at least some time won't be possible for many, unless you have a very focused capex. You're going to the right direction where you think the future business is going to be there. Otherwise, what we can do is we can have a cluster coming in, 20 good minds, very technically sound, marketing, everybody from different fields coming together and probably investing in technology and driving it towards that particular.
So for existing technology, I would think collaboration model could help, depending on some other friend circle group. And going way forward, I mean, for new technology and all, you could look at options like cluster. But what Tushar is guys trying to hint at, and if I'm right in understanding, Tushar, that if you have to do capex now, enough has been put into conventional print, is it?
I would say that.
And if at all you're looking at, you should look at digital and the way forward. If at all, if that project is making sense or giving you enough revenue from that, then you should look at something other than conventional offset. Conventional offset at the time being, it could, stand at it is where it is because there is enough of capacity. अगर आपके पास नहीं होगा तो आप करा भी ले सकोगे ऐसा, right? And another thing which I understand from what you are saying is that there is no problem. There's no problem in thinking about downsizing in terms of facilities, and in terms of even the space if you don't require that space. So
basically, if you want to survive, and you have to do this exercise. Definitely, you have to do. It is emotionally. I know there will be some restrictions, somewhere. But see, if jahan hai to jahan hai. If you are there, you can always come up. Sort of. So if you are there and remain in business, probably you can do something else in future. So I am not a pessimist about the future. I am very optimistic. But the way you take hold of your situation now is going to be very crucial in the long run for you.
Yeah, right. So guys, we go on to the next round of questions. This one is coming for you, Yogesh. What monetary and fiscal policies that have been announced, whatever they have been announced, like the emergency credit line, and the moratorium which the RBI offered, for the existing EMIs, or the interest also which could be postponed, the CC or OD interest could be postponed. So all these was taking extra money, okay? So wouldn't this pave a way for a debt trap in future? How to assess whether we really require the money to be taken or not, Yogesh?
See, Uday, the entrepreneur per se would have to see whether his business fits the scheme, whatever government has brought in. Government has brought in these schemes more to do with liquidity.
Right.
To bring in liquidity in the system so that the SMEs and MSMEs, especially the companies below, say, 100 crores and all, don't suffer.
Right.
Okay. And in this, what has happened is that there is no subsidies, etc., which has been given by the government. They might have brought in the rate of interest down. Even if you see there is a moratorium on the EMIs, but there is no such thing as
no benefit.
You don't have to pay any EMIs, which in some of the countries outside has happened. But in India, because of our economic scenario, that is a very difficult thing for the government to do. Okay, because of and so the entrepreneurs, especially who want money, they have to think that, okay, this money, what they are receiving is a medium-term money. If you see, it is for a period of 1 + 3 years with 1 year moratorium. That is how the structure was.
Yeah.
And if they are able to turn around the company during those time and able to manage this crisis and effectively use this money for payment, say statutory payments, and for say the purpose what it is taken, and they are able to survive the business, then it is okay. But already leverage company borrowing more just for the sake of that government is lending and they are able to do it, and taking a chance on that is slightly, I will say,
because as we say, debt is a debt.
Yeah, it's a risk for them, and those are the companies who fall in the debt trap. But entrepreneurs and companies who use the money effectively and they know that their vision will be matched by using this money and to come out of this crisis, for them this is a godsend gift.
Yeah, and people keep talking about government क्या देने वाला है, क्या देने वाला है, उसकी आशा में.
Government, I don't think so. Government would give more anything. Anything they give, it is always, you can see what has happened. This debt is just, they have postponed it, nothing else. Whatever debt is there, it is just getting postponed. It is not that you are having as entrepreneurs, you are getting a breathing space. That's all.
Yeah, it's a breather.
And in the breathing space, if you are able to do something, then it is good.
So what I understand is primarily, अगर इसका working capital demand loan है और वैसे use करने वाले हैं, if you want to use it that way.
Effective use करेंगे, cash conserve करेंगे, working capital ठीक से churn करेंगे, and then you are able to pay this kind of debt, because this is all sub 10, sub 9 type of debts.
So some people who have never raised a CC or OD, वो सोचते हैं कि अभी लोग क्या, they can take this, because if they are going to use it in the rotation,
makes sense. See, अगर किसी का if there are companies who have never leveraged on their balance sheet and only have their capital, they can go for these things.
This situation started happening after 2012, Yogesh, when companies.
See, earlier from 2006 onwards, the borrowing was very easy, but all went back after 2012 when the debt crisis started with all the major banks. Financial institutions, and that is the legacy these banks and financial institutions also have, because of which the cost of funds are also not very low. Not that cheap.
Yeah. So only if you require, guys, we need to take this. You need to add this properly.
Just because the scheme is there
available, iske lene
yeah.
Thank you, Yogesh.
Thank you.
Coming to you, Siva. We know that, Siva, we have discussed this many times. I know better productivity is equal to better profits. It तेरा एकदम जान का subject है. Give us some ideas in bringing about a turnaround in productivity. What factors could be considered, Siva?
So this is $1 million question. We have been debating, discussing day in and day out on this. Okay. Productivity can be termed in two ways. That is a human productivity and machine productivity. Okay. Both goes hands in hand, especially in printing industry, what we have seen. So again, coming back to square one, is what you have to do is focus what you have, things on hand, do only those things which is going to benefit you on that point of time. Don't think about 3 महीने के बाद कुछ करना है, उसको आज ही लेके कुछ करना नहीं है. It is worth its while. So I think we should not waste on that. Second is, again, all those things required is planning again. People just do haphazardly, paper लेता है, इधर लिखता है, उधर लिखता है. They should have a proper planning in place. They should personally get themselves involved. Earlier it was all like the liberty of people. Okay, your people will do it, but you should have hands-on. Everything should be on your hands-on, because it's going to be a tough time to manage all those things. So personal check, and you have to spend some time on what has been done by people with you. Okay, so again you have to be very clear of sourcing of raw material, because that is where you can save a lot of stuff. Timely also, that is one more thing. It is not just sourcing. You have to source it in such a way that it has to reach you on time. But the most important things which come to my mind in this scenario is training. Because people don't give emphasis, our country doesn't give any emphasis to training or maintenance. I will put it in that way. Maintenance is something, अरे वो crack आ गया तो उसको छोड़ देगा, वो उसको अभी ठीक नहीं करेगा. Because Indians, we are like that, अरे वो होने दो ना, खत्म होने दो फिर करेगा. The same way training. Training is so crucial, especially earlier we were also not aware, but being associated with you and being there, spend some time with you all, we have understood that if you have proper training, a trained person doing a trained job, the output will be good, you will save money, and the cost can be controlled. So again, I emphasize that you should give lot of weightage to training, and people should take it seriously, okay? Because we don't take it seriously. We feel, अरे स्कूल में पढ़ाई कर दिया, कॉलेज में पढ़ाई कर लिया, ये तो चलता रहेगा जैसा है, अभी ऐसा नहीं है. It is going to be a different thing altogether for all of us. So for us also, we need training, and we have to enhance our, knowledge.
So,
Yeah, Uday.
so if I can summarize that, we will have to be personally involved in checking all the bottlenecks and trying to remove them.
Correct.
Second, also, I want to tell you that social distancing is also going to embed some time frame, gaps बीच में रखना पड़ने वाला है. तो उसमें भी अपना productivity loss होगा, which we will have to recover with better productivity now. So वो भर के निकालना ही है, नहीं तो वो actual loss है ना अभी. जो पहला इतना वो gaps नहीं रखता था, 2 shift के बीच में और ऐसा सब भी था, तो अभी वो रखना है. So that also we need to compensate. So we'll have to be productive in that sense. One simple idea, without increasing much cost, is that I was also thinking about, and many people have done this. Put some apprentice students, on these jobs. Give them small projects, एक work को check करने को, and come up with some saving in terms of time and checking on the bottlenecks. It could be a good time experience. Instead of involving a big professional and investing a huge amount, 6,000 रुपए में अप्रेंटिस में हो जाता है काम, और एक महीने का इनका टोटल ये होगा ना ऑब्जर्वेशन, तो उससे काफी रिजल्ट पता चले. So that is one of my suggestions which could be done. Just after listening to you.
Yeah. So again, coming back to what we are discussing is we have to really focus thoroughly. We have to be very clear from my mind that what we want to do for our organization, because that is the way forward. मतलब ये भी करो वो भी करो करके फायदा नहीं है. So the mantra is very simple. Every penny saved is penny earned today, and every penny is going to matter for tomorrow to run our business.
True, Shiva. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
For you, Radha, we are looking at a new normal with WFH, work from home. पहला तो मेरे को WFH लिखते थे न्यूज़पेपर में, समझ नहीं रहता, थोड़ा टाइम लगा. वर्क फ्रॉम होम क्योंकि किया ही नहीं ना कभी. So that is gaining popularity, but in our industry, will we require to build this into our model? What could be the pros and cons? मेरे को तो बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है घर पे बैठ के, but उससे धंधा होने वाला क्या होगा? I mean, how do we do it if we really need to do it in printing in particular, rather, and general also you may touch upon, but in printing in particular.
Yes, sir. If you look at it, work from home, this concept, now this has gained prominence during the lockdown.
Yeah.
It was already there in certain industries like IT and all. But within the print industry, now this is the first time we are adapting, in the last couple of months. I would say, there are certain departments where it can work, like admin, accounts, finance, your design, all these things, yeah, they can work from home. The concept will be really good for them. On the other hand, see, production is our backbone. So we need to have this labor coming in, workers coming in, doing the work, taking out the production and all. So it will not work with the blue collar employees as such. But yes, with the other stuff, the back-end stuff, it can definitely be a very cost-effective proposition, but there are certain pitfalls to this thing also, because we need to have very strong processes, very strong policies and systems embedded in our framework, because the concept is very new. How to monitor this thing, it will become a challenge. If I just give a example, there is a lady employee in our organization. She used to come at 10 o'clock in the morning, finish off her work during that 8 hours course of time, and go back home. Now when she is working from home, she has to look after her kids, she has to cook the food at leisure, and all those things come. So how to monitor these things, this will pose a challenge for us. But definitely as a cost reduction option, this is really a good proposition.
So maybe a level above, level above employees could be considered in our case.
Yes.
Particular level ke upar.
Particular levels or particular.
And even their homes need to be adjusted for these concepts.
Definitely. You need to have certain proper.
But from a savings point of view, this could work into savings also. With the gig thing which you were saying, gig is, if we could explain that, contract, no, I think contract or
It is
fixed.
contract on.
So something like that, if that could be worked out along with this, that it could turn into savings also.
Yeah. It will.
But there is no harm looking at it, in future. What do you think?
Definitely. See, it's going to save on a lot of things. It's going to save on your electricity, on your other resources, like.
But what you recommend is with good policies and this thing, you should look at the challenges also involved and face it properly.
Yes, definitely. We have to monitor all the pros and cons.
So it is possible. You had
Yes.
some questions on this. I think with your this answer, that question which we have received from one of the participants will be answered. Question for you, Tushar. Thank you, Radha. Question for you, Tushar. Will the industry be looking at more automation in order to reduce labor costs? Therefore, would we be seeing more retrofits post-lockdown? In our opinion, would this make sense in building this into our model?
Firstly and foremostly, last few years, the capex which has been done in conventional offset printing, okay, as a whole, the machines are highly automated, which are coming in, okay, and automation is at a very good level. And what seems to be seen is, do we use the automation that comes in with it? Okay.
Yeah.
Last few years, the equipment which is coming in, conventional offset printing machine manufacturers, all the big wigs, the Heidelbergs, the Kogoris, the KBAs or IBs, all of them have automated to a certain level. This, according to me, is the most matured for conventional, was going to be the conventional machine, the last stage of automation. Henceforth, automation in those areas, according to me, may not be possible. And problem is, over here in Indian context, we have a labor-oriented workforce already in place because of our history. For a 4-color, which is automated press, which, everything, the make ready is automatic, the color ink, this thing, curve is automatic. A lot of automation are already inbuilt in the machine. Still, we have around four people for a 4-color machine, 5 persons for a 5-color machine, and 6 people for the 6-color machine, which is not necessary actually. If the automation is that level, in Europe you'll find only 2 people are covering the 6-color machine packaging press, with all different types of processes built in. So automation in India is one thing which one has to understand, so that you get the best of productivity. I believe, as a technologist, and last 3 decades I have been studying technology, and I have always enforced technology. I have always driven by technology. I feel that technology, whatever you buy, you have to use at least 80 to 90% of the automation features in the machines. Then only you'll get the turnaround time faster, the cost to profit benefit. That is the machine ROI that furthers around it. It all depends on the productivity and the productivity time, turnaround time of the particular job. And there, we can save on labor, because I feel, more minds doing a same job as a machine. In our unit, I'll just give you an example of our unit, Uday. We have introduced a total automated press in 2007. We had 4 people then, and today also we have 4 people here. And I tried to build in most of the automatic specs, but because of the unionization and all, getting workers or reducing workers, I was trying this for a long time, but I'm not successful. Probably today now I know that only 2 people are necessary, and the same productivity or even more productivity in the same machine can be obtained. So doing capex further in productivity is not there. Already your machines are productive. So that
perhaps that retrofits, you could look at retrofits.
Retrofits is one which adds value to your present machine. There are a lot of retrofits, like you can retrofit LED unit or a UV unit or a cast hologram. There are a lot of things that you can build in retrofit to your existing machine, which can add value to the jobs that you are doing right now.
So I think you come again to the point of training, because I think
no, I'm not harping on the training.
I'm talking about training for the first thing you said, which we are not utilizing the machines to the fullest extent. So I think
obviously training is necessary there. I mean, we know that a well-trained person will always give more output than a half-trained baked.
And
so that goes without saying.
We are not using the features fully. So start using the features fully.
So the owners, what I suppose The owners have to put in sweat and blood into understanding the machine, the features on the machine, and take the best of it. I suppose that is the only answer. And retrofits, definitely you can add to your existing equipment, which can give you a better,
some retrofits, after adding the resource, it is going to give you some revenue. Then you could think of adding those small automizations with the retrofit. Extract more from your machines is what he's saying, Tushar is saying. And well, if we go into the training mode, even Dot Institute could look into some parts of the small training modules, which you just mentioned. It gives me an idea to introduce some more over here. Let's go for
am I allowed to talk about some training aspects or maybe later?
We will take it later.
Okay. Fine.
It will disturb the round of. I just said it, because these small things will need some training, right? Round 3 now. Question for Yogesh, sir. Fallout of lockdown would naturally be corporate debt crisis. My feeling, I feel. So what should be our policy towards, choosing of the debtors, choosing of your customers henceforth?
See, lockdown effect from March till May end, the main things which were affected were not on the corporate debt is only one of the things. The main thing was fall in demand and secondly, loss of employment. These are the main two things which has affected everyone. Yes, corporate debt is one thing which is there and it will remain. Here, the main one of the things which we have to think around is that can you come back with the question? Exact one?
What I said is, natural fallout of this lockdown would be corporate debt crisis. And how are we supposed to select our customers?
See, end customers, Uday, if you see, this is a reboot what has been done to the business. And it has been a forced reboot. If you see, the lockdown is a reboot. And all the customers which were a particular quality before the lockdown, the quality of those customers have changed. The internal ratings for the companies for those customers have changed drastically. Like if you had a pharma and a FMCG customer earlier, right now they are the kings. You can easily do business with them because you know they don't have that cash flow problem and you can be paid. The other things are there on the service segment. Those who are in the service segment earlier and those who are making good, right now the business are not that good and robust, because of which their your internal ratings for them would obviously fall. Because of which we have to see that whatever new customers we are building in or the existing customers, we have to rework a strategy internally also to deal with them in one way or another, and also to think about till what level of business you can go, whether the pre-COVID level business the same you want to do or you don't want to.
That is the call we should take as entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And Yogesh, even the levels, these grading, pre-COVID, COVID and post-COVID will be
definitely different.
वो भी ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा.
वो ध्यान रखना ही पड़ेगा. एंड इसमें क्या है कि इवन दो कस्टमर्स हम लोग के साथ जो है वो 20 साल रहेगा, 25 साल रहेगा, एवरीथिंग वी अंडरस्टैंड, बट द होल सिस्टम हैज बीन रीबूटेड नाउ एंड हम लोग को एक फ्रेश पर्सपेक्टिव से सब देखना पड़ेगा. दैट्स ऑल.
तो एक कॉशियस और प्रिवेंटिव थोड़ा सा स्टैंड होना चाहिए.
Yes.
More than what it was.
That is right.
Ultimately, situation or industry based, vertical based.
That is right.
Thank you. Siva, with your experience, when do you think this disruption in demand and supply will get corrected? And we have come to reboot to restart. We were just talking about that, Yogesh. Reboot to restart. Will we be able to research?
See, the demand and supply was always the part of business. Without that, business can't be run. Okay.
Yeah.
So having understood, people are aware what is demand and what is supply. Okay. Today, some printers who are technically good and they have good equipment, they have very good machines. So what I feel, they still have some quality work on hand. Okay, I'm not saying others don't have, others also can get some business because today there is no transport or courier available. So the outstation guy can get fixed business which you can't get. So he can always, lap on you and do that business. So I feel, see, Indians are very जुगाड़ू यार, सबका तोड़ निकाल लेंगे, कहाँ ना कहाँ से कुछ जुगाड़ करेंगे और बहुत this will keep on running, demand and supply will keep on running and business will take off. But having said that, see, there is always, when the lockdown happened again, people were, कि नहीं नहीं अभी in 1 month everything will be okay, open. Now, it took 3-4 months to people to understand that this financial year is going to be slow down and we have to be very cautious and things will keep happening in this own space. But ऐसा नहीं कि मर जाएगा, 50% या 40% तो business होगा and people will make something out of it. So I feel that will keep on moving. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि demand नहीं है, supply नहीं है. वो अभी for that matter suddenly अभी बाकी सब चीज का demand आ गया ना. Anything related to COVID, everyone is trying to create that demand and selling. Okay? Yeah. So that's how it is.
So we'll have to be a little more vigilant in what we are doing.
Yeah. Whatever we do, we have to be very vigilant.
और वो एक डर थियरी हम लोग बात कर रहे थे, याद है शिवा?
अभी क्या है, ऐसी ये ऐसा है कि I was trying to tell you other day, अभी इतना डरा दिया है लोगों को कोविड बोल के, बेचारा लोग इतना डर गया है कि अभी वो बोलता है कि मैं डरे, अरे छोड़ यार कितना डरेगा, छोड़ो. तो इट इज सिंपल वे ऑफ पुटिंग इज डर के आगे जीत है. इट्स लाइक दैट. तो अभी क्या है, ऑल एंटरप्रेन्योर्स आर आल्सो अंडरस्टूड.
या तो गब्बर सिंह की भाषा में, जो डर गया वो मर गया.
जो डर गया वो मर गया. अभी ऐसा ही है, वैसे चलना पड़ेगा.
We'll have to go beyond this डर.
Beyond this, yeah. We have to keep on thinking.
Be more creative and innovative.
Correct.
Perhaps in this adversity, try to create that into an opportunity by freeing your mindset, proper mindset, and convert it into a creative mindset. Free mindset.
Correct.
Creative उसको करो, ऐसा बोल सकते ना.
करेक्ट, उसको बोल सकते हैं.
क्या बाहर बहुत लोग बोलते रहते हैं आउटर सर्कल में, ये वो कम सुनो, अपना अंदर का सुनो. रिसेप्टिव, बी मोर रिसेप्टिव टू बाय इंट्रोस्पेक्टिंग एंड क्रिएट समथिंग, क्रिएट व्हाटएवर मे बी योर पैशन आल्सो. टाइम पास के लिए करो, कुछ म्यूजिक करो, गाना करो, बट लेट इट बी लिटिल.
हियर इज बी हैप्पी. डोंट थिंक टू मच कि ऐसा होगा वैसा होगा. यू
हैप्पी होगा तो ख्याल भी अच्छे आते हैं,
ख्याल भी अच्छा आएगा. राइट, दैट्स व्हाई आई सेड बी हैप्पी. अच्छा सोचो, भगवान का नाम लो.
थैंक यू शिवा. बैक टू यू राधा. In small and medium organizations, will the workers and staff easily get used to the new health and hygiene norms? And if not, in case of any emergency, medical emergency, of the key members due to COVID, will it not affect the commitments given to our customers? How would the organizations who have never thought of this situation embed that into their model? तो अभी पहले इतना ध्यान ही नहीं दिया ना राधा, ये सब इसका, तो अभी एक साथ ध्यान देने पड़ेगा. कोई की मेंबर हो तो क्या सॉल्यूशन है अपने पास इसके लिए?
Now what has happened is with Unlock 1, the government has already mandated a lot of safety and hygiene protocols, which every organization has to follow stringently. And even the people have become very conscious. They have also become very hygiene conscious, safety conscious. They're coming with masks, gloves, sanitizers, using sanitizers, etc. But you never know where you can catch the infection from. So there's no need point in being afraid and thinking ki what will happen. Rather, let us strengthen our defenses. Even Amitabh Bachchan and his family has caught the virus. With all the precautions they must have taken.
India में अमिताभ को हो सकता है तो किसी को भी हो सकता है.
So, but what we can do is, yes, we can try to preempt this situation. Create our backups through job rotations, skill enhancements, trainings, cross-functional trainings, all these things. Strengthen our second line of employees. So that what happens is they are able to take over. Suppose something happens to a key employee, the second line person can take over the job role of that person, and the work will go on smoothly. Now, if I give an example, a feederman can be trained to be a printer. He's already half a printer being on the machine, working for 8 hours, 16 hours on a machine. He's already half a printer. But with proper training, he will be able to handle full-fledgedly that role. A salesperson, right now, though no physical meetings are happening,
Right.
A salesperson can perform the job of an estimator.
I think he
So
should.
these are certain things, which can be done if we provide them proper training. So right now the focus should be on creating the skills, enhancing the skills, upskilling them, reskilling also through training. That is what I would like to say.
Again, now Radha is also talking about training, guys. So I think training is quite crucial in all these things. And we have time on hand to train ourselves and our staff. So this should be the small example. Quickly, I will tell you, I know a printer in Delhi, a digital printer who has around, 20 machines. Now, you know what he has done is, he has around 25 staff, but any of the staff is trained on all 20 machines. So एक भी absent होता है तो उसको कुछ problem नहीं होता है. थोड़ा ये उधर ठीक है, because that is a digital setup. So there it is possible. In a conventional setup, that may not be so much possible. But moving out of convention and train people from lower rank to take the upper rank, slowly and steadily. This could solve numerous problems, and rather creating backups and creating the second line has been a perpetual problem in our line, which we have also discussed many times, right?
Yes. So now is the time to think seriously about it.
Yeah. So second line, creation of second line should be a thing which Radha suggests over here. Thank you, Radha. A quick question for you, Tushar. Will the changed habits of consumers lead us to some innovative products needed in print? Will we have to shift from service industry to commoditization? Anything prompting us to new technology directly or maybe indirectly?
Uday, this is a very tricky question, but the answer we have already seen in the last few months. Printers have adapted to the change. Printers who had packs of equipment, in the COVID demand for beds, for example, corrugated beds. A lot of corrugated beds were supplied throughout the country. It was a very cheap solution. So, thinking out of the mind and reacting, a lot of people have thought about it, but probably have not reacted or acted upon. I would hats off to these people, a few people in our industry who have reacted to the situation and who have taken the challenge and brought these things online immediately. May it be masks, may it be personalized masks, maybe lasers, or I can take an example of automobile industry manufacturer, manufacturing respirators. Some company in consumable have started making visors. So that is the change, that is innovation, that is what is needed in a person who can do it from his intent of, doing something for and also, it can be a stream of revenue for them. So at home and just, thinking about bad situations, whatever is happening around us and, debating, seeing the news is not the solution. The solution is to act and react as fast as possible. That makes entrepreneurs out of you. That will give you maybe not profits, but it will give you that happiness that you have done for the masses in such a situation. I think I really respect the people who have done this in this situation. A lot of examples in us, country.
Mm-hmm.
What was the next point of the question? Customization.
Will we have to shift from service to commodity?
Yeah. No, see, service industry is going to remain there. There are going to be commercial jobs, newsletters, or a lot of large-scale jobs. So service industry for insurance or loans and agreements and all the service is going to remain there. Probably what is going to happen is customization to a certain level. See, the industry around us is changing. What I would advise is to go on Google, go research, do a lot of reading in your spare time at home. So you will, try to gauge something out of it, gauge what is necessary and shorten solutions. I mean, I'm not saying for a long time, because as I earlier said, you have to think for a very short period, a month or maybe 2 months, and what you can do in that and from your line of action using the complete infrastructure that you have, if you can do something about it, because you have to be very, very specific about the customization that people are going to need hence.
So with a focus on specialization, maybe over here.
Yeah. Yes.
What you're hinting at. Yeah. And the last thing which I asked you was anything prompting to new technology. Again,
I would come as a technologist for almost 3 decades now. I have been technologically driven from the inception, bringing in technology or being the first one to adapt certain technology. But doing capex at the moment, unless you have a very specific need, is going to be difficult. You should do, if you think it's going to be profitable, then you should go ahead with doing capex. But I would advise, or my opinion is, think down the line. These ROIs now. The ROIs have to be probably 24 months. If you are going to buy a new equipment, maybe in digital or whatever, other value-added services, see that the ROI is over in the 24 months. So that is the minimum that I think you should do.
Okay.
And try to be very specific, try to be very focused. Again, I'm saying focus, because that is going to give you the change in that.
Just summarizing what Tushar is saying, from the information which you're getting day in and day out, really good information, just absorb that good information, leave the bad information, educate yourself from these kind of information you're getting, and go into the net, read about things. Try to reduce the gap between thinking and reacting. Is what he means is thinking and implementing some certain new idea.
I'll take my example. I've been thinking about certain things, but I've been not reacting to it. Only recently we thought, this online thing and giving education through web classrooms.
And we did see people coming and discussing that. Yes. So that's what I agree with him. Then new capex, wherever good ROI and break-even is there, you could go into it. And yes, again, 100% more efficient use of your machine. Concentrate on your core competency, what he's trying to say.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll go for the fourth round. Yogesh, this is for you. It has been observed that whatever little opportunities that we have in exports are killed because of our high costs due to two basic things. One is power and interest, which I was talking about earlier. With you, I'm taking only the interest factor. So international LIBOR is around 0.75 to 1, but our average lending is not less than 10%, and an average 10, say. Also, with the reduction in repo and reverse repo, around 3 times in the recent past, banks are not reduced the lending rates. Whereas this is crucial factor affecting export, not only exports but also domestic markets. I need your advice on this.
See, if you have observed from 2013 onwards, when this crisis started with the financial institutions, they started carrying a baggage with them of these NPA accounts. So because of these NPA accounts, even though the repo rate and the reverse repo rate coming down, the banks very rarely they pass on this benefit to the end customer. Maybe in housing loans, etc., they pass on, but especially for SME, MSME and all, they know these guys are going to pay us back. Because if you see, the NPA levels are more because of the debt crisis with larger corporates rather than SME, MSME. Because SME, MSME, the default rate is not that much, and value-wise also it is not so much. But so because of which, for the lenders, they know these guys are going to pay, and they are not passing on the benefit. And most of the people know it, because with larger lenders now also they get the benefits, because if they are a AA, AAA rated companies, they have the money market and the bond market to go on, which obviously the SME, MSME, they don't have that alternative. They are always dependent on their bankers for that. And yes, industry-wise, if there is any lobbying done,
many of them are with cooperative banks also.
Yeah, like if you see the automation industry with these vehicles, with the car and motorcycle industry, they are lobbying very hard with the government on every aspect, and we can see that it's in daily news. But with the other industries, like even I will go with the printing industry, the lobbying is not, at least it's not that visible, even though you may claim that we are lobbying very hard.
We are lobbying, I won't say very hard.
Yeah. So and many of the times the SME, MSME, they deal with cooperative banks also, because they are very much comfortable with them and with the way the working of the.
But these banks are not flexible.
But these banks are not flexible, and these banks, the disadvantages come out only during these crisis times.
And
during this crisis time, because of the statute or because of the government policies, they are not able to cooperate with the client.
No, but in this emergency credit line also, Yogesh, cooperative banks have been kept out, and we have done the lobbying for this. Let us see. But am I right in saying that there's many a slip between the cup and the lip?
That's right. That's right.
Seems to be given by the government.
Because if you see this, because we are dealing with various corporates, and this emergency credit lines we are seeing is given only by the nationalized bank in a particular way. Even the private banks, they would give, but they are picking and choosing the customers. They are not giving to each and everyone.
Discretion.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you mean to say is that we are not looking at a rate reduction?
See, rate reduction, you see, even though there would be rate reduction, it would not be a major reduction. Like if you say right now, if your borrowing cost is 10%, you will not get money at 5%. I don't think so. That is never going to happen because the deposit rates are not going to come down.
So we need to embed whatever it is.
Yes, and so it is very futile if we compare the LIBOR and all, because LIBOR works in a very different way in the international market.
What my saying was, at least in these crucial times for FY 2021 or something, they could have made such an exception by reducing the rate or asking the banks to reduce.
That's what we were expecting that there should be some kind of subsidized rates.
But businessmen propose and the government disposes. So
very true.
Bhagwan to government.
That's right.
Shiva, आपके लिए एक question है. You have a wide experience in dealing with markets of different industries, and now you have also learned some things about our industry. Fortunately or unfortunately, Shiva, I don't know. But how different is it, and what strategy should we adopt going forward? Specifically, I want to ask whether we can adopt a customer-centric or product-centric. Any new tools in this? Can you suggest?
First of all, let me thank Uday and Tushar for giving us an opportunity to work alongside and understanding printing business. Okay. What I could understand here is it's a huge on a capex side. Okay. To put a printing press, it is not easy, and that also to put a decent press like what you guys have really done for last 10 years or so. You've been fighting hard to maintain that. It's something like unimaginable. It is not easy. You should have that passion to do, which Tushar and you have done. Okay. Having said that, now the problem what we are facing today is it is all about. We are talking about again cost. ठीक है, cost तो रहेगा ही साथ में. Again, what I will emphasize is your decision making should be fast. You should be more creative, innovative. Weightage should be given for training. Main thing what I feel is the printers should help each other. Okay, that is where you can do a big collaborative work where किसी ना किसी का तो भला होगा. धंधा छोड़ देना is a better option या धंधा तोड़ देना, because you always fight for उससे मेरे को अच्छा धंधा करना है, उससे अच्छा. But ये situation में I think this is a time when printers should also help each other. एक से नहीं होता है तो दूसरे को दे दो.
So you are hinting at collaboration.
You have to do a collaborative
outsourcing.
Sourcing. Best possible is the best mantra today is outsourcing. तो छोटे वाले को भी काम मिलेगा, बड़े वाले को भी बिना सर दर्द का पैसा मिलेगा.
तो customer centric, product centric ऐसा कुछ नहीं है आपने.
ऐसा नहीं, there is nothing like customer. It all depends on the situation to situation. I will not say anything.
But one thing which we need to accept, Shiva, today is virtual has become the reality. Now today we are meeting, all are meeting virtually. So perhaps the business to be drawn in future could also be through network.
Yeah. So what I could add on to here is the future.
ऐसा कुछ हाँ.
ऐसा ही है अभी कहना कि everything we are doing online. Okay, today we are all meeting for a meeting. To do a face-to-face meeting for 80, 90 people is not at a point of time. It is very difficult. But today we have been doing. Okay, today also we have close to about 70 participants as of now who are attending. So what I feel, the next mantra will be back to print.
We were more than 93, Shiva.
93. So the next mantra will be back to print. Okay. So I feel we should concentrate. We should have tie-ups more on those angles. We should collaborate with people who have into this print.
At least to start with a decent website, if not one, and and then go on one by one. Thank you.
One by one.
Thank you.
It's not easy. Yeah. Thank you.
Much to say on this. Rather for you, it is said that unemployment will rise tremendously. Though the media doesn't admit, and we don't know to what extent it has happened. Will this mean we will get better staff at lesser costs, or will it eventually affect the morale of people? What is your take?
Well, to begin with, however much we try to deny, unemployment is one of the sad aftermaths of the lockdown. People have lost their jobs. We know about that. Job security is of utmost importance to the people right now.
Right.
We have also spoken about wage reduction, job reduction, wage reduction, and all those things which are there. So people, it has shaken the people out of their complacency, the sense of complacency, and they, now on their toes, because they are very alert and they're very afraid about their job.
Right.
So that job security has become of prime importance to them.
Yeah, which was not there before.
Yeah. So we have spoken about retaining key people. What we need to do is we need to invest in our key people. As I said, train them, upskill them, reskill them. Including the second line of people, as we have said. What will happen is this will show a sense of confidence in them, that the organization also believes in them. When we are training someone, when we are upskilling them, that means the organization is, interested in taking them forward. So that will happen. And one more thing which has to, as we have spoken about, the cross-functional training and all those things. So they have to become jack of all trades. It cannot be that, previously like
at least learn one or two more arts.
Yeah. Job rotation, they have to do all these things. So multitasking will definitely become the key mantra. That's what I have to say.
Polishing of people needs to be done.
Polishing of people need to be done.
By identifying the training metrics.
Yeah. And one more thing which I want to say is keep on communicating with the people.
और इसमें एक कैटेगरी ऐसा भी रहा होता है लॉयल एम्प्लॉइज who are much in favor of your company. They never say bad things about the company outside the company, and we need to protect such people also and probably train them more.
Train them also. These are some people who are loyalists, but so we need to show faith in them. We need to show our confidence, our backing.
Yeah, but without affecting our this thing.
Yes,
we can negotiate. So
definitely.
As businessmen, we can negotiate.
Yes.
So there is no feeling bad about it, right?
Yeah. So that will definitely happen, and everyone is prepared for that.
A simple, straightforward question to Tushar. Thank you, Radha. Thank you, Radha. Simple, straightforward question to Tushar. Will technologically inclined people like you still be interested in attending next Drupa whenever it is held? I don't know when it is held.
Uday, as we all know, Drupa has been shifted to next year, 2021, around April, May. Still, we don't know what situation is ahead and till what extent the COVID will, go and how the international traveling will be done. A lot of big wigs have already dropped out of Drupa, and number of days of Drupa have been reduced to 8 instead of 11. So there is going to be a downfall in the exhibition. It may be a local exhibition for Europe, I suppose. If traveling by then is not permitted, then there is no way we can do it. But if COVID situation is not there anymore, say by next year, then there is, I feel exhibitions are one thing which people need to attend. I have been attending for the last 2 decades, all the exhibitions, major exhibitions, which I find interest because that is a learning experience. You know the technology, what is going to come out of you. Because I don't think the exhibitions which people are showing are going to work because when it involves a lot of equipment and a live demonstration, feeling the paper, feeling the machine, seeing the aesthetics of the machine, the size, the brilliance of the colors, actually that will differ, and virtual exhibition will not be possible. I mean, that's my opinion. Exhibitions are here to stay. It may take some time. It may take a hitting for the Drupa the next year, probably, but that will not anyway reduce the fancy for exhibitions.
So for Tushar, virtual exhibitions are a no-no, simply.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So let's wait for next Drupa. You can attend the exhibition. I can have some beer. Thank you. Thank you, Tushar. One last round question for just Yogesh and Siva. Yeah, 2 together. Do you see mergers, amalgamations, buyouts, etc. happening in near future? Your words of wisdom on this.
Uday,
Yogesh, go on.
it will be the in thing in the current scenario. Because of the situation, the companies who feel that they have the cash chest to buy out certain companies with certain technology which they feel fit in their portfolio, they would go out for the buyouts because of the valuations which has obviously fallen down. You don't see the valuation. You don't compare the valuations with right now whatever the stock market is showing.
Right.
Okay, but the ground reality is quite different. Okay, ground reality is quite different. Because of which these things would be the in thing. The companies who want to sell off, they also will look for who are in bleeding position or who see that in future their technology might be outdated and right now they want to sell up. I think they shouldn't hold on to their businesses and should exit. पकड़ के रखने से कुछ होने वाला नहीं है. Because of which it doesn't make sense to be emotionally attached to the business during these competitive times and during these uncertainties.
अभी भाव नहीं मिलेगा ना योगेश ज्यादा.
देखो अभी भाव नहीं मिलेगा मैं मानता हूँ, लेकिन भाव कल और ज्यादा नहीं गिरे वो भी तो इम्पोर्टेंट है. See, if you are able to come out of this crisis, then nothing like it. See, we feel that कि बस yes, merger and amalgamation and takeovers are one of the thing, but major thing would be the liquidation of the companies, because many of the companies in this COVID scenario, post-COVID, उसमें बहुत सारे लोग survive करेंगे नहीं. बहुत सारे लोग नहीं करेंगे directly, indirectly, and that is a ground reality. and जिसको कुछ खरीदना है वो लोगों को मिल भी जाएगा. वो लोगों को मिल भी जाएगा to buy out these type of companies at cheaper valuations.
I remember Yogesh, the other day when we were discussing on this, just casually, you're talking something about Bahadur Shah Zafar.
Yeah. You can't be Bahadur Shah Zafar type during these times without taking any decisions, because decision taking is a must to exit or to
emotionally attached.
Yes. नहीं हो सकते.
शिवा, आप क्या बोलेंगे?
Oh, yeah, Indians are both emotionally attached to their business. We are not like Americans. I think we should start taking calls. जो भी bleed कर रहा है तो you should stop the bleeding ना. अपने को तो आदत है कि और अंदर जाएंगे और try करेंगे. I think things will also change in India. People will also start thinking in those lines. And there may be a lot of players who may be off business, and there may be a lot of amalgamation, collaboration, all those things happening in all the businesses. Not in printing, but all the businesses.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Some questions we are having. We are through with my FAQs. Now, some questions we are having, just a few. Let's try to look at that. Ashutosh Tripathi writes, new businesses driven by consumer demand or driven by capability enhancement and diversification? ? Yeah, Siva, this is for you. New businesses, he writes, either driven by consumer demand or driven by capacity enhancement and diversification.
So it will be the consumer demand. Today's scenario, there is capacity is not made to make much difference, except for you are going to get that huge kind of contract or order. But I feel it is about the customer need that you are going to service. That's what I personally feel. So by saying that, I think it is as of now, it is now customer centric for what the question that he is asking.
Okay, thanks. Can Ashutosh only writes, can excess capacities be used for R&D and new verticals?
Yes, I think that is what I was saying, being innovative and using spare capacity of human resource into something which can benefit the company, maybe diversifying or doing R&D at this stage when you have the time. Definitely, that you can work on it would be at an advantage, I feel.
Kajal Anand is asking, I think unhone Siva likha, but this question goes to Yogesh.
Yeah,
available loans at this time should be taken though you see it may be minimum 6 months for the business to revive. So
If,
I'm trying to ask whether he can take it later.
yeah, see, if the entrepreneur is quite sure that yes, the business would be reviving and they are able to pay it back, then I think these loans can be taken, provided if it is used effectively and kept as a kept properly and used effectively. Means it is not wasted, not used for capex, not used for some sunk cost. Then it matters.
And as of now, it is available only till 31st of October.
Yeah, yeah.
Until some extension is given. So
Yeah. It might go for an extension also.
उसके पहले आपको लेना है बस. Anand Levi is writing to Tushar. Tushar, when you say will go for automation being solution. On the other hand, we are concentrating on maintaining liquidity and controlling the fixed expenses. So if we go for automation, will it not jeopardize liquidity due to accepting burden of loan when in India the cost of labor is rather low? Which will prevail?
See what I was saying there, the existing equipment which are automated already, you have to use the features of automation already inbuilt in them, right? I'm not saying going for capex. Anand is taken a wrong information from my talk. I am not advising on any capex. I said whatever.
और छोटा मोटा capex तुषार ने ऐसा बोला था कि छोटा मोटा capex होगा उसका ROI और ये उसके profit में conversion हो रहा है अगर
no, for some printers, you know, investing at this particular juncture and creating new avenues for print may be a solution. See, all depends on the person. Everybody, you know, their visions are different. Their working style is different. Their relationship with their client is different. What I would advise that not go to a capex, which people are already on conventional presses, but have automate presses them and not using the facilities. You should, you know, use the productivity to the extent of using all the features on the machine and, you know, in fact, save on labor. Save on labor. In fact, I say get 4-color machine pe 4 aadmi hai. Why not just have 2 or 3 people and train the people in such a way that, you know, they can run those machines? That is what I'm saying. So I'm saying I'm reducing the cost of labor at present and using more productive features so that you get, you know, instead of churning 40 jobs in a day, for example, 1 job. So those 10 jobs which you are doing more productive on the same machine can add to your bottom line. That is my...
Okay. Dhananjay Godse asks, what should we do for quality control in outsourcing?
Yeah. When you have all the operations in-house, you have all SOPs intact, right? You have created those standard operating procedures for each and every department. Again, the question of training is coming here. When we have to outsource some department, you have to call in for a meeting, show him the SOPs, try to train him briefly on what qualities you are expecting and what is the thing, monitor it for some time, and I'm sure that you will, around the clock, you know, with a good follow-up, you can create a better product from a guy who never knew the quality parameters. So training again here is essential. It is not only for your employees, but for people whom you are going to outsource also. So once you are doing any outsourcing, definitely you have to look into your QCs and everything, but that can be managed. If there's a will, there is always a way. I feel. Yeah.
So एक आध लेबर अपना मशीन का कम करके उसको आउटसोर्सिंग के इंस्पेक्शन भी लगा सकते हैं हम.
Yes. When you are outsourcing,
we have done that in the past.
Past, yes.
Done that in past. Well, that is the end of the questions which we have received in the Q&A. Whatever questions had come to me earlier through the registration, we have already incorporated in the FAQs.
There are some raise of hands. So if you have the time, you can just ask them.
We have the time. Do they have the time? Even the panelists, we need to ask.
Please, you can go ahead. Yeah. We have another 10 minutes. Please go ahead.
So there is raise of hand from Mr. Samir Shah and Rahul Jain. So I would like you to take the. I will open the allow Rahul to talk. Yeah.
Can you please?
Rahul, if you are there, please raise your question.
Tusharji, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
So there was something very interesting spoken by one of the friends here that we should stop cutting each other's throat, and we should not cut down on cost and things. which a lot of us do appreciate and we follow that rule. But how do you ensure, how do you educate people in the industry that this is ultimately harming all of us in the ecosystem? Can we work on something like that as an association, as a fraternity?
I think Uday, you can answer this one.
See, for this, I always say, you should know your costs best. And we all do not sail in the same boat because our costs are very intrinsic to our organization. And prices will always be determined by the market scenario and your need and your risk-taking appetite. तो कंपटीशन वो रहने वाला है. हाँ, पर्पसली कट थ्रोट नहीं करना चाहिए और एक some sort of ecosystem होना चाहिए. But in this competitive environment, it's difficult, Rahul. आज के सिनेरियो में
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Uday. Trying to say is, can we take an initiative to educate people in the industry?
I think
Rahul,
Rahul,
I have come across a lot of examples where I've seen people who are not aware about their costs.
Correct.
They are desperate about taking things, and at the end of the day, they destroy themselves and ultimately keep.
They do not realize they are hitting below their belt. Correct. So
and it also impacts others in the industry.
Our endeavor is to make people realize what their costs are and below which they cannot go. So ये कर सकते हैं, but आप ये rate मत दो, ये थोड़ा
नहीं, वो तो possible नहीं है.
Even if you see,
unviable to even think that. But I'm talking is bringing awareness.
We'll take cognizance of that. In fact, if you see, Rahul, in our web classes which we have conducted, we've tried to educate people with the customized cost centers using simple methods like tally and how to fix the departmental or activity-wise costs. So here the effort is to make them realize what their costs are. Once they realize this, they will not themselves hit below the belt.
That is what I'm talking about.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, someone more was there, Tushar?
Mr. Samir Shah.
Can you open the phone?
Yeah. Mr. Samir, do you have anything to say, please?
No, sir. It was great. Learn a lot of things.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We are just sharing. We are not. It's just
No.
things, yeah, and we need to learn from this. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Or hai koi, Tushar?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't see anything.
Yeah. So thank you, everybody. Some of the web classes which we have conducted, webinars which we conducted, just on your left-hand side. We conducted one on RBI and FM schemes with respect to MSMEs. We repeated the same program for Ahmedabad Printers Association and Maharashtra Mudran Parishad. Then wages during lockdown, we took one with respect to the Supreme Court interim order, customized cost center and fixed departmental activity-wise costs. And these are some of the, on the right-hand side, some of our forthcoming classes which we will be conducting. Costing and estimating around 3 to 4 sessions, Oga. Then making Excel templates for estimation around 3 sessions. Finance for non-finance executives is very important in today's world, today's scenario. 3 sessions on that. Tally for owners. 3 very nice things on tally which owners can do themselves, just as a check on what others are doing in their accounts department. Then better productivity, better profits, around 3 to 4 sessions.
Yeah.
These are some of our forthcoming.
Yeah.
We will also
about the technical classrooms that I see. My personal being on the shop floor and being a technology-driven person last decades, I find very simple solutions at the shop floor level itself. So I am aiming to conduct small modules. For example, dot gain. What is the dot gain and how you can control the dot gain? Very simple and effective ways without going into a lot of R&D and what people have done and the formulas and all. There are very simple ways of understanding color management, dot gain, better productivity through other sources of environment, how to keep your make ready downtime minimum, how to align your jobs. These are small modules which can we do.
And we'll try to do it in a very simple way.
Simple way. That is what I say.
Okay, can you run one poll for us, Tushar, which we made earlier?
Yeah.
I request everybody to just fill in this poll in the next 30 seconds. This is on the feedback for today's session. It will help us realize where we stand and what we should do better in future. Next 30 seconds, everybody.
I think with the 62 people are, I mean, percent people have voted. So I'll just end the poll.
Yeah.
And I'll just share the results.
Yeah. So around 94% people feel that it was excellent and interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I thank everybody, all the participants, all the panelists first for taking out the precious time to address our participants. Thank you, all the participants without whose participation this was not at all possible. And if you have any suggestions or if you have anything more to say, because we were not able to take up more question and answers today, these are our email IDs. You could please write to us if anything more you want to know or get in touch with our panelists also. You can do directly, write to them or write to us if it is something concerning the industry, print industry. Please don't hesitate in writing to us, and we'll be definitely sending a recording of this program to everybody. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll now
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye.